In this video, I'm going to share my first ever wholesale attempt. If you want to hear how it went, don't think about going anywhere. I will see you guys on the other side. Alright, so welcome back to my channel. I am John. As I mentioned, I am going to be sharing with you my first ever attempt at wholesaling real estate, which did not go as planned. I won't, fluff it up any. I'll hop right in. Wholesaling, if you aren't familiar, it's the art of finding a property deeply discounted, contracting that property, moving it to an end buyer at a discount. Most likely it's either a landlord or it's a flipper. And the wholesaler, they'll capture that spread in the middle, often with an assignment fee, or else you may have to double close as well if you're making a large assignment fee and you want to keep those profits to yourself. Double closing is another option. But let's get back to my deal, my failed deal. This was a property out in Foley, Missouri. I live here in St. Louis, Missouri. And the lead source came from a bandit sign. So we've all seen those on the highway exits and busy intersections, the We Buy Houses sign. I know we've all seen it. So I did a bandit sign campaign. I put out my signs and I had a call come in. And I had these calls going straight to Pat Live because I still work every day. So I'm not able to take calls as they come in. So Pat Live, they're like a virtual administrative assistant. So they'll take the call and then they'll take a message. So long story short, they took this call. I called them back either on my lunch break or it's after work. And we talked, I got some details about the property and we end up setting an appointment for me to actually go out and view the property. And he warned me that the house had really bad fleas. So I actually had to, I think I put grocery store bags around my shoes or brought an extra pair of shoes or whatever. But I did take some type of precaution and I sprayed a bunch of off on me as well to hopefully try to repel some of those fleas. But yeah, we walked the property. I got to see it, and we end up he wanted like 18 or 20 for it, and we end up settling at $15K cash. And 15K cash, got it contracted, and then from there I was off to the races with trying to connect up with an end buyer. So I did my Craigslist, I did Facebook Marketplace, and I did end up finding a cash buyer fairly quickly. He came out to he hit me up, he let me know he was familiar with the area. He actually came out to the property, he saw it, he wanted it. I think I marketed this property for $19K, so that would have been a $4K profit that I would be looking at. But me and this end buyer, we end up finalizing at $17K. So it would have ended up just being a $2K profit, which is cool. Some are small, and then you have other home run deals. But $2K, and we were moving toward closing. Yeah, we were moving toward closing. Closing day gets here and the buyer's nowhere to be found. Since I was just assigning up my interest, I really didn't have to show up to closing. So the title company, they called me and let me know that the buyer's MIA. So I called the buyer. I'm getting his voicemail. Nobody's able to get a hold of him. And my voicemails, they go from friendly to stern, because it's like, yo, why waste my time with contracting the property if you're not going to show up for a closing? But long story short, he didn't show up, so I have to start going out and marketing the property again. The seller understood. He was working with me. I was starting to market the property again, and the property did have some downfalls. It was in a very rural part of Missouri. Also, it was located near a river, so it was actually in a floodplain. It hadn't flooded there in a while, but it was still in a floodplain, and all of those things, it makes it hard to sell a property, hard to move a property. However, this buyer ended up coming back, expressing interest, letting me know that he's very interested. He can put his earnest money deposit down. He wants to move forward. So we tried all over again. He gets his earnest money to the title company. and we are moving toward closing. And something happened with the seller. The seller was getting very antsy, and the seller didn't really care for the buyer too much. He was getting very antsy, and he had me relay a message to the buyer. It was something about expediting the process or something, or else, he's gonna walk. He won't sell the property anymore. So I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it was some message that he had me relay to the buyer, and the buyer did not take to it very kindly at all. He felt that it was very rude. He didn't like it. So once again, he backed out, and here I am with this property. But this time I was, of course, I'm always in the driver's seat, but I felt like, man, the seller, if you would have had a little bit more patience, this problem would be gone. His big thing was that he wanted to sell this property so he can get on his motorcycle and drive west. And we were almost there, but he sort of relayed that message to the buyer and then completely turned the buyer off. And here we are, a property that can't be moved. So that was my walking papers from it, and I even helped the seller out some other ways as well, which I would definitely advise against. Ways outside of his house, like lending money, because we started to build a relationship, because this was a long process, and yeah, I've seen some of it back, but I haven't seen all of it back. And I definitely wouldn't recommend that. I would definitely recommend staying in the driver's seat. If it's something that you think will cost you the deal, maybe go back and talk to the seller. If they're, I wouldn't be relaying messages back from the seller to the buyer anyway, because it can just ultimately end up hurting that seller, and he's so emotionally tied into the situation right now that he's not thinking logically. Because once I told him that the buyer wants out, he was like, "Hey, just let him know I was upset. We can still move forward." And it's like, I can't just go back and undo words and undo feelings that came behind those words that were shared. So ultimately, it was a loss for all of us. The buyer didn't get the property. I wasn't able to provide any service. I wasn't able to help. I wasn't able to make any money off of the transaction as well. And then the seller wasn't able to sell his property. So that's it, man. That was my first ever attempt. I watched a bunch of videos and read up on the industry, and I went out there and did it. I was talking to sellers, but it's the name of the game. It comes with the territory. I know a lot of people don't share some of the failures, but yeah, that was one of my failures, the very first one. So we will see if I will ever do a wholesale deal. If you think I should keep going, let me know down in the comments to keep going. And I definitely will, but I wanted to share this experience with you. Please stay tuned for my video next week, to where we'll see if I'm able to finally get a deal done, or if I will have another failure. But that was failure number one. I'm John. I'm signing off. Thanks so much. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. I have different videos on real estate. Real estate, business, lifestyle is what my channel is geared to. So yeah, please subscribe if you're into that content. I'll see you next week.